Hello, welcome to eFrigates. Today I will give you a brief overview of Hawk, Caldari Assault Frigate. We will talk about its place in the 1v1 metagame in faction warfare, ship profile, engagement map, and the main feats for solo PvP. First, the metagame. On the left, you see the number of 1v1 fights in faction warfare in the last year. And on the right is the average win rate against these ships. So in terms of popularity, Hawk is in the middle of all combat frigates. It is the third most popular assault frigate, so it's not really one of the most popular ships, but it's not something completely out of the meta. So occasionally you will see this ship in the war zone. And in terms of win rate, Hawk is actually one of the strongest frigates. Partially it's because the bonuses work really well, and partially because it works very good against ships that are currently very popular. For example, Hawk has Tech 2 kinetic and thermal resists, and the majority of popular frigates and destroyers shoot thermal and kinetic, which gives this ship a natural advantage. And Hawk is one of a very few frigates that has 5 medium slots, and it can fit respectable control in scrum range, and it helps to secure kills against faction frigates that are typically very control heavy. Hawk has 5 high slots, 5 medium slots, and 2 low slots, and then a couple of bonuses. So the first bonus is a bonus to light missile and rocket velocity. This is essentially a bonus to range. The second bonus is bonus to rate of fire and kinetic damage. So 2 damage bonuses. One is generic and the other is specific for kinetic damage. So Hawk is soft kinetic locked. And the final bonus is tanking bonus for shield booster amount. So when you look at this design, you generally think about scrum kiting roll, because the ship has 5 medium slots that you can use for control, and it has a tanking bonus that is very useful for DPS races. And indeed, in practice, almost 90% of Hawk feats are scrum kiting feats with rockets, but actually light missile Hawk is not bad at all, as we will see in the next portion of the video. Overall, Hawk has one of the best tanks of all frigates, thanks to Tech 2 resists and 5 medium slots and a tanking bonus. The damage is quite respectable for a missile frigate. Of course, you are not gonna beat blaster frigates, but it's still quite respectable. And control is above average. You cannot use all 5 slots, all 5 medium slots for control, because you need something for the tank, since you're a shield tank locked with a bonus. So it's not as high as on a Hookbill, for example, but it's still very competitive. And overall, as you saw on the previous slide, the win rate and the tire is above average. If you look at performance on the right, you can engage practically everything destroyer down. Against Tech 1 frigates and destroyers, Hawk scores almost 100%. Against Navy destroyers, sometimes you can just engage in straight DPS races, especially against Navy destroyers that shoot thermal and kinetic. And against others, you can mitigate a lot of damage using superior control. Against Navy frigates, Hawk scores above 80%, In general, Navy frigates cannot really compete on tank to DPS, but they will have superior control. So they generally can escape if they want to, but not always. Against assault frigates, it's close to 50%. I would say Hawk has better chances against frigates that shoot thermal and kinetic or have significantly worse control. But against frigates that have profile kinetic resists or can shoot into the resist Hall of Hawk or can perma-tank the rocket damage, Hawk will be a bit of an underdog. And all other matchups are extremely rare, so combat interceptors, pirate and special frigates and destroyers and command destroyers. You probably will never really engage into these fights, so you don't really need to worry about them too much. But Hawk is competitive against all of these ships. Okay, let's talk about the feats next. The most popular feat for the Hawk is the Scrum Kiter with 2 medium ancillary shield boosters. The feat is quite straightforward. You have 4 guns, you have Macro Scrum and Web, 2 medium ancillary shield boosters, ADC, plug your resist hole with a rig, and add some damage with DPS rig. Now, the reason why this feat works so well and why it's so popular is because it covers essentially the entire engagement profile for the Hawk. So you can fight against Tick-1 and Navy destroyers and engage in the DPS races because you have so much control, because you have so much tank with double ancillary shield boosters and ADC. You have a safety against kiters because of macro warp drive, and even if you can't catch them, you can generally just escape. And against Scrum range frigates, your control is acceptable. Any frigate that can control you in Scrum range generally simply will not have enough tank to DPS to win the fight anyway, so you at the very least get a draw. So this is why this feat is so popular. You may occasionally want to make some modifications depending on your position. For example, you may want to swap macro warp drive for an afterburner against some frigates that have better control or against destroyers. Very occasionally you may want to drop one MASB for a bunch of additional control. So this is the feat with a single MASB, and you get a nano, a second web, and a newt. The rigs are the same, so you can just simply swap the modules. But in my experience, this feat is it's not needed very often. You may only use it against maybe some Navy frigates when you really want to force a kill. Another feat that you should know, that I don't really recommend this feat, but it's popular enough for you to know about it. This is a medium shield booster with small cap booster feat. So the biggest advantage of this feat is that you get permanent tank, but the biggest weakness is that your maximum tank is significantly lower. So you're looking at 220 on this feat against 340 on double MASB feat, and this is before heat or any drugs. And you're also significantly more vulnerable against newts in MSB feat. So it kind of works a bit better against a tiny portion of your engagement profile, but it also works quite a bit worse against a wider range of engagement profile, I feel like. So I personally prefer a feat that kind of works reasonably well against everything, and this feat does this job just fine, and it also 2.5 times cheaper as well. But this fit is completely possible. And the final fit you should know about is the Kiting Hawk. It's quite rare, but it's very capable at killing destroyers. So especially like in the last 2 years, Navy destroyers became extremely popular, and this fit just kills them very easily. You have sufficient control to escape a button quite easily, and when you have a lot of tank, both through just raw hit points and mitigation thanks to the tracking disruptor, and your application is sufficient against destroyers, Fury will apply just fine, and in this case you have a very respectable DPS. The weakness of this fit is that it doesn't really work against frigates. It cannot engage out of position against frigates because it's just a bit too slow to kind of run away from the button if it's camped. And even if you establish range control, your application is really not that great, and you cannot just stay in the fight for like half an hour because you are limited on cap. So against frigates it doesn't really work. You can poke against some of them, but primarily it's an excellent destroyer killer, and this is why you should keep this fit in mind. So this was a short overview of Hawk. I hope you found it useful, and I will see you in the next videos.